Okay, I hope that I can be heard now. Please kindly confirm to me that I can be heard now. Right. So this is the time for us to take up that role to actually analyze the results of our children and see what we can actually do going forward. Instead of criticizing them, instead of complaining, instead of nagging, this is the time for us to actually step into that role of making sure that we now put everything that they have learned into ways that is relatable to ways that is actually okay, sorry about that. That was a feedback from YouTube. So it is a time for us to reflect, for us to reset and restart. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. It is a time for us to reflect, to reset, and to restart. That's exactly what this long holiday is for us. It is a time for us to reflect on the things that have happened through first term, second term, third term. What are those things that have actually happened? What is the changes that I can see in my child? What is it that my child is actually doing that I need to correct? What is that thing that I need to teach my child? Right? It is time for us to reset. Now, to reset means that you now want to put those things into perspective. What exactly? Because of course, like I always say that we need to, we need to shape behavior, one behavior at a time. So you want to look at it. What is the most important thing for me to put into perspective for me to teach my child? What is the best thing for me setting? Then you're now restarting. You're restarting on, okay, yes, these are the things that I need to do. These are the things that I need to put into perspective, and I am putting it into perspective, right? So this is something that is very important. It's a time for us to focus on raising our children to become the awesome individual. If people who attended the parenting goals for growth class in the beginning of the year, I spoke about putting the things that you want to put, you want to see in your child as an adult, putting it into perspective, then picking it one thing after the other and working on it. So now this is the time for you to now say that, okay, yes, this is what I want to see in my child exactly. Like I always say, it's something that you already know, that it's not just about the grade. It's not just about, it's not just about it's not just about the result that they have brought up. So what exactly do you want to see in that child? Right. So you now start picking it one after the other. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback that you can hear me now. Right. So which we would like to see in the future. So to focus on the emotional, the social, and the intellectual growth of our children. Remember that the goal is to actually raise wholesome children, to raise all-round children, not children that are doing well academically, but character-wise, they are not even there. They are unable to manage their emotions. Any little thing with their schoolmates, they are always fighting or something. So we're not raising children like that. We are raising children who are all around. So you want to look at all of these things, right? Not just one thing, right? So think of learning as something that happens every day. These are the things you want to start looking at now. You don't want to see learning as something that is done only in the four walls of the classrooms. See it as something that is done every day. So it is an opportunity to actually see education as what it really is. If I may ask people now, what exactly do you think education is? As parents, this is something that we should know. We should be at par with, the educational system and all of those things, because of course we're raising children who we know we need to prepare for their own future, and not just our own future. So what does education mean to you as a person? What do you think education is? I would like to get responses, from those that are listening to me right now. What do you think education is? So you want to actually take that opportunity to see education as what exactly it is, right? And it is not just schooling. This is something that people have, really missed up. And that's why we have so many things happening. We see so many things. We see so many things these days online, on the online space. So now you want to ask yourself, what exactly is education? Is education the same thing as schooling? No. So we need to know. We need to see education as that training that one receives to be able to function and succeed and thrive in a society, right? So we see education as a training that you receive, a training that you receive that you actually get, that helps you to function, that helps you to succeed and thrive in a society and the world at large. That's what education is, right? So it is not enough it is not, yes, it's a tool for life. Thank you. It is a tool for life. It is that training that a child receives. And if we now say that, okay, yes, schooling is just that a particular, should I say, platform or a place whereby education can come up. But then we need to know that it is not all education that will actually come in the, in that four wall of the classroom. So if we're mistaking education to mean schooling or schooling to mean education, that means we have even missed it as parents. So that's why we do not just want to delegate everything to the teachers. We do not just want them to just do things and, we just leave it at that. We leave everything to them. It is not something they are going to be able to do perfectly because, they are going to be following a particular curriculum which they want to finish. So that's how it is. So we ourselves want to see education as something that, it's a tool for life, like someone has said. It is a training that prepares a child for whatever it is. And that's why, I was thinking, in this past week, and, I thought of people who say that school is a scam, right? Yes, we all know that school is not a scam. Yes, it is something that we know. But however, if someone can actually come out to say that school is a scam, it means that that person has actually been scammed. Yes, that's what it means. Because if we're saying that school is something that will prepare you for the future, but then what you are being given in school is not even actually prepare you even for the present, not to talk of the future, right? So we're going to leave it there because, we have a lot to talk about and, we're conscious of time. So now look beyond, you want to, seeing education as different from school help you to understand the things that we need to expose our children to this holiday. And that's why we went down like that, like, okay, let's go and pick it from there so that people will understand what are those things that I really need to expose my children to. What are those things that I need to expose them to during this holiday, right? So yes, it actually means that that person has been scammed. Yes. So now we want to now look beyond textbooks. We want to look beyond workbooks. We want to look beyond, books generally, right? We're not just going to be, leaving it aside. We'll definitely talk about reading because reading is something that is very important in the lives of everyone. If you can't read, then that means you're not literate. So irrespective of you going to school or not going to school, once you can't read, that means you can't even, absorb knowledge. You can't be in that place where you continue to grow because reading is a form of, is a way that you can actually become a lifelong learner. When you keep reading, when you keep being at par, right? But then we want to think beyond textbooks. We want to think beyond worksheets. We want to think beyond math. We want to think beyond English, right? So we want to now start to see how we can milk the things in our environment, how our children can actually milk the things in our environment, learn from them and actually grow from them. That's what we want to see, right? So we want to see how we can use our environment as a befitting learning experience for our children, right? That's one way we want to use to maximize this holiday. But then we don't want it to be rigorous. We don't want it to be structured in a way that it looks like being in the classroom. We want to bring life into whatever it is that has been learned, right? And that's why we're saying, we're talking, we're looking beyond the textbook. We're looking beyond books. We are looking beyond worksheets, right? So if you're still thinking about the subjects that your children do in school, think about how you can, yes, of course, because so many parents are not equipped with the things that they can actually engage their children with. We're still going to be thinking of, those things that they've done while they were in school. But then if we're still thinking about that, it's okay. All that we need to do is that we now need to relate all of those things into real life experiences for our children, right? We want to be able to take it and put it into a situation whereby it has meaning to them. They see the meaning of all of those things that we're talking about, right? So that's the first thing you want to look at. Another thing is that you don't want to, now I'm going back to raising wholesome children, raising all-round children. Now you want to look at it. Is my child, okay emotionally? Right? Are they emotionally stable? Are they able to manage their emotions in healthy ways? What are the reports that you have gotten about your child? Does your child fight in school? Is he unable to control his emotions? You want to look at all of those things. And that's why I said that, of course, the results that you also get from school is something that is also, it is something that you can also analyze to help you to plan for the holiday, to help you to maximize the holiday to be productive for your child. Right? So you want to look at it. Is this child, socially intelligent? Are they able to make friends the right way? There is actually a right way to making friends, right? I spoke about this, I think, in the concluded sex education course. I spoke about it because friends are very important in shaping the decisions that our children actually make, right? So you want to ask yourself, you want to be in that space whereby you're saying, okay, is this child socially intelligent? Are they able to make good friends? Are they able to keep up with relationships, right? Can they confidently speak with people? This is still under being socially intelligent. Are they able to even speak with strangers, right? In the just concluded webinar that we had on safety too, right? We spoke about how strangers are not dangers, and we should stop teaching our children that strangers are dangers, right? I shared a particular a particular nugget on my WhatsApp status, I think day before yesterday, and I was saying there is knowledge, there is higher knowledge, and if you want to be in that place whereby you have that higher knowledge to give to your children, you have to be in the spaces whereby you continuously learning. You yourself have to be that lifelong learner that you want to make your child become, right? So that's that on that. So can your child speak confidently with people? Can they navigate their way around situations and their immediate environment? That's one thing you want to think about, right? Is your 7-year-old, your 8-year-old, or even your 9-year-old, can they speak with people? Can they even go out to say, okay, yes, I'm going to the next shop in the street to actually get some things? Can they actually do those things? Those are the things you want to look at, because being smart is not just about book smart, it's about being street smart too. This is something that is important. So you want to look at all of these things this holiday. We're actually going to break all of these things down according to age, according to the age appropriate things to actually expose your children to. And that's why I said that we have a lot to cover today, right? So another question you might want to ask yourself is, what type of intelligence does my child have? A lot of the time, I love to say that a lot of the time we have found ourselves in situations whereby we go to primary school, we go to secondary school, we finish university, we finish serving, then we now come back with that question and start asking ourselves, what exactly do I want to start doing with my life? Have you been there? If you've been there, just signify. This is something that is very common. This is something that is very rampant. You don't know, you start thinking, what is that thing that Allah has, created me for? What is that my purpose on earth? What is that my potential? What is it? We don't start asking those questions. Does it sound familiar to you? What exactly have I been created for? What is that thing that I can do very well? We don't start going through that self-awareness process. Have you been there? Right? This is something that is very common. I also went through it on this journey of growth, right? So you now be in that place. What is it that I want to start doing? What is it that I want to, what is that thing that I love to do? They will not start saying things like, because of course, this is something that I've done, and I've exposed myself to, because I have spoken to teenagers when they are in GSS3 and they want to transition to SS1. We start asking them, we take them through self-awareness process, but not all schools does this, right? It's just very few schools. So you now start asking, what is that thing that you can do from morning till night that you will not get tired of doing? Questions like that, just to make us aware. So you want to start that thing right now with your children. And that's why I said that you don't need to start looking, you don't need to start observing your child. What type or form of intelligence does my child have? Does my child have natural intelligence? Is it that he loves anything that has to do with maybe with animals, with plants, with anything natural? He knows about them. He's able to easily learn about them. It comes easy to him than any other person. That's natural intelligence, right? Another thing you want to look at: does this child have interpersonal, or intrapersonal intelligence? What does this mean? Is this child able to relate more with people better than his peers? Can he speak with people? Is he more outspoken even without taking him through a particular training or something? Is he able to speak confidently? Is he able to speak in a respectful way, in a way that he honors people? So you want to ask yourself this question. You want to start looking at it. And that's why a lot of the time we were raised to always just see the weakness in children, or to always see whatever strength that they have in the negative light. And that's why people would talk today. I'm not in that WhatsApp group anyway. People would talk, and they talk for a living these days. They will tell you that when I was growing up, they usually call me a talkative. People say that I'm a talkative. I talk too much. Look at me today. Look at what I'm doing. So you want to start seeing things that your child is engaged in, the things that they are doing. You want to start seeing it in the positive light. Do you get it? This child talks too much. This child loves to do this. This child loves to play outside. He loves to do this. You want to start seeing it in the positive light and channel it towards something that is actually, channel it positively. Let me put it that way. So you want to do that, right? This is the time for you to observe your child. Don't let us raise children whereby they now finish school, they now start going through that process of self-awareness just on their own again. It can be tiring. It can be demotivating. If you've experienced this, share it in the comment section. It can be demotivating. So this is the time for you to study your child. And come to think of it, I don't know, a lot of the parents, they actually rush. This long vacation like this, the highest that your child has with you, highest maximum is 18. Is 18 years. Is 18 long vacations like this. So which means that if your child is 10 years, he only has maybe 8 years long vacation to spend with you. So if your child is still young, this is the time for you to start observing them rather than complain about the fact that they are at home, they did not go. Rather than trying to push our responsibilities to screen, to summer lesson teachers, to families and friends. We're not saying that they should not spend time with family and friends. We'll get there and we'll talk about it, one after the other. That's another question you want to ask your child. You want to start observing in your child. You want to ask, does this child have a logical or mathematical intelligence? We have different ones like that. You want to start looking into it, right? Another thing you want to do is that you want to examine your family situation. I usually say that an intentional parent follows a plan. An unintentional parent, or just a parent, an ordinary parent, follows the crowd. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. An intentional parent follows a plan. An unintentional parent follows the crowd. So definitely, if you have a plan for your child, these are the things I want to see. These are the skills I want to put in my child. These are the skills I want them to learn, and all of those things. You will not find yourself in a place where you are running helter-skelter just because it is holiday period. So you have a plan already. So why did I digress to this? You want to look at your family, situation, or whatever it is, your family vision and every other thing. What are those things that are in our own plan as a family that I want to actually teach this child, or teach these children, or expose these children to at this age of theirs? So you want to go back again to the vision and pick what exactly you want your child or your children to learn, then focus on it. We're going to talk about, a lot of them. So you can actually pick, even if you do not have any yet, you can actually pick from this as we go on today, inshallah. Right? So now, if you have chosen something, okay, this is what I want to teach my child. I was saying that I was going to share this, but I feel that, okay, let me just share it to people to make it public. I was saying I was going to share it to people who participated in the just concluded sex education course. It was not, we didn't just conclude it. As a matter of fact, I think that was since June, right? So you've learned something. You've attended a course. For example, we've run so much, course during this year. We had No Yelling Challenge, emotional intelligence, sex educate your child like April, and all of with care and all of those things. So you want to now look at it. What is the structure that I'm going to put in place? I wish that I can actually, show people. I actually picked this book just for the holiday for implementation, right? And I've started putting structures in place. Okay, this particular month, this particular month of August, I'm so glad that we're just starting the month. So it's a very good time to actually start. You want to write it. Okay, it is Tuesday. I want to have this talk with this child or with these children. I want to talk to them. This is something we're focusing on. It could be independence. You want them to be independent. You want to look at it. Okay, what are those things that we struggled with during school days? Was it preparing them to finish up on time? Was it time management? Was it, dressing up for them and all of those things? So you want to look at it. Then you want to create a structure around it. It's something that is very simple. You want to have, a rolled out session. You want to write out the date. what exactly you want to talk to your child about, and you have your remarks. When you finish talking to your child about it, you write down. If there's something that you still feel that, okay, yes, this child is not getting this thing properly, okay, let's take it to the next date. You can decide every Wednesday we're going to be doing this. You can decide, okay, yes, weekly every Wednesday or 2 times in a week, we're going to be talking about this. And that's what I mean when I say that you should shape behavior one at a time. Don't just want your child to learn everything once. It's not possible. And this is what our parents tried to do back then that put us in mess. You can't do this, or and they find themselves in a place whereby they complain. And I tell people that don't always find yourself in a place whereby you're saying, don't you know that? Don't you know that? The child doesn't know, because that child doesn't know. So we need to be in that space whereby we actually teach for them to know. This is something that is very important. So you don't want to create a structure like I have explained. Okay, this month, this is what I want to teach this child. This month, okay, yes, this 2 times in a week, we're going to talk about this particular topic. This 2 times in a week, we're going to talk about this topic, right? And that's how it goes. So you want to create a structure around what you want to achieve as a family and make it simple and stress-free. Don't make it look like a classroom again. Don't make it look like a classroom again, right? So you want to make it simple and you want to make it stress-free. It's just going to be, through doing the things that you want to do. And when you're having conversations, let's say whatever it is that you want to teach them requires that you have this conversation with them. You want to be in a space whereby they do most of the talking. They are the ones that are mostly talking, that are mostly engaging, so that you're going to carry them along, right? So you need to create a structure around it, right? Another thing you want to do, I think I've spoken about this before, I'll just say it briefly, that you want to examine your child's result and guide your children through their weakness using their strengths. Involve them in your planning process, right? I say that children take things from us better when it is planned together as a family than when it is just, than when you just plan it and you just give it to them. Who can testify to that? When you plan it together, they are able to follow through. Then it's not because when you just do it and you just bring it, yes, this is what we'll do, this is what we'll do, they see it as a form of control. They see it like you're just controlling us. And that's where rebellion comes, especially when we have preteens and teenagers. But when we sit together as a family, these are the things we want to achieve this month. These are the things that we're going to be doing. What do you think, Abdullah? What do you think, Muhammad? What do you think? What do you think we can do to make this better? When suggestions comes from them, it's a lot easier. It goes on, beautifully well than when there's nothing, than when there is, you don't involve them in the planning process. So you want to involve them in the planning process. If you are finished planning, let them, part of learning is, okay, yes, you're going to get a cardboard or a white paper. You're going to write the things that we're going to be doing each day and all of those things and paste it in there. Everyone gets to see it. So it's more fun. It's more simple. People are carried along with it rather than when they don't even know. I like to use the example of trying to complete a puzzle. When you're trying to complete a puzzle and you didn't. I'm so sorry. I just remember that I'm not recording here. But I think it's okay. We can easily share. From this. I'm so sorry about that. Yes. So are you with me? Is anyone with me? Are you getting value from this session? Am I just speaking to myself? Please share with me in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Let me know that you're actually getting, you're getting value. So like I said, you want to create a structure in a way that it's going to fit into whatever it is that you want to achieve. So it makes it a lot easier. So I was talking about planning. You want to plan in a way that you carry your children along. When you involve them, it's easier for them it's easier for them to go through, to follow through. Yes, that's the word. It's easier for them to follow through than when you do not even carry them along, right? And that's why I said I was talking about, it's just a situation whereby I like to using a puzzle as an example. If you want to fix a puzzle and no one is seeing the end in mind, only you know the end in mind, it's going to be difficult for you to fix that puzzle. But when everyone sees the picture of the end in mind, this is what we want to achieve, it's a lot easier to get the puzzle fixed. It's the same thing when we talk about achieving a family goal. When you put everything on the table and you're able to say, yes, this is what we want to achieve in this month, right? It's easier for children to follow through because they have the end in mind. They understand where you're going to. They understand what they need to do. You'll see that all of them will start, they will cooperate with you and you'll be able to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, right? So you want to think of how you can link, the subjects that they have learned, like I said, you want to look for a way to link it. So I'll give you an example. Your child is, you checked your child results and your child is struggling with mathematics. I like to say that if your child is struggling with mathematics, it is not an extra lesson teacher that your child needs. I know that the parents who have registered for any of my learning style courses will understand this. That's not, your child does not need extra of whatever it is that they are not getting, right? So you want to see it, okay, this child is struggling with addition, for example, right? So you want to make it something that they can actually learn from in a fun way. Instead of the usual, okay, count 1, 2, 3, you might want to use objects to let them count. You might want to use, there's this, I don't know, there's this snake and ladder that you can use, a game that you can actually use to teach them. So it just requires that when they throw whatever it is that they throw, they're able to count, okay, yes, I'm on 5, I threw 5, that means I'm going to move to 10. Children learn better from there. We're going to talk so much about how children can actually learn through the use of puzzles, of Legos, because mathematics is actually problem solving. This is something that so many children, struggle with, right? I remember that as an adult now, when I was a child, I also struggled with mathematics. But mathematics was not, oh my God, let me not talk about it, right? So you actually want to teach them in fun ways, right? You want to introduce puzzles to them. And what mathematics is problem solving. It's just problem solving. So which means that if your child is able to think and solve problem, they at the end of the day, they find math easy. They find it as something that is easy. So you want to put down strategic games that makes them to think, because problem solving requires that you're able to think to solve the problem that you have at hand. That's what it is, right? So you want to actually put them in that space, right? So you want to link whatever it is that you want them to learn from your observation, from your reflection, from their results. You want to put it in a way that they're able to learn it, they're able to relate to it. You have, for example, you have an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old who is still struggling with mathematics. You want to tell them to make a simple budget. You want to tell them, okay, yes, if I give you this particular amount, can you make a budget of these things that we can actually buy with it, with this 1,000 naira, with this 2,000 naira. So that means you are bringing whatever it is that they've learned in school, you are bringing it into life for them. They find it more engaging, they find it more interesting, they find it more easy than when it is just about writing books and they are not even practicalizing whatever it is that they have learned, right? So another thing that we need to do is that we need to stop seeing vocational skills as the things that children actually, children that are not privileged to go to school are exposed to. We need to stop it already. We need to stop it already because, one, we do not even know what exactly this child is going to become. We don't know exactly what they are going to do. So we want to find them in spaces whereby they explore so many things. That is where they find out what their interest is. That is where they find out what their hobby is. That is where they find out from. Right, so this is something that is important. We want to expose them to vocational skills. We need to start seeing it as an avenue for them to learn skills rather than just learn that thing. We want to see it as an avenue for them to learn skills. So we want to expose them to vocational skills. Cooking, baking, sewing, and all of those things. Do you know that sewing, there's so much of calculation that is in sewing that even if a child is struggling with maths, they can actually, when we start talking about pattern drafting, about all of those things, when we start talking about cooking, when you measure, okay, how many cups of water do I need to put in this thing? And the funny thing, all of these things had things that we learned in very fun ways. You remember when we put, sand down and we pour water and we use it to make a bar. We use small stones to do meat. We use water and leaves to do soup and all of those things. We are actually learning from there. But the truth is, we have now deprived our children of all of these things, thinking that it takes away their time or something. And like I always say that play is actually the work of a child. So we want to expose them to all of these things. Let us bring it back for them because they learn a lot from it, right? So this is something that we need to look into. So another thing you want to look into is that you want to think of making screen time learning time. You want to make sure it's so easy. Like I usually tell people that if I am someone who is not very intentional about the way I raise my children, since we've been here, that there's perfect power supply, there's a stable power supply, I can easily put my children on screen from morning to night. It's not going to cost me anything. It's not going to cost me anything at all putting them on screen. It's not even going to cost me data. And there's constant power supply, right? But then I know that that's not what they need to actually grow. That's not what is going to help me to achieve my goal on them. It's not going to help me to make them into that adult that I want to see when that time comes, right? So it's not something that I do. So even if I'm not saying that there shouldn't be screen time, of course, my children have, an hour of screen time, but then the question is, what exactly are children learning from it? So that's why I said you need to start thinking of making screen time learning time. So I just got to know about some shows that I'm going to be sharing, and that's why I said that I hope that we're writing, right? I have one, Pointless. Pointless is suitable for children between, let's say, 7 years and above, right? It's actually, a particular show that talks about countries, that talk about cities that start with a particular letter and all of those things. Children get to learn about cities, about countries from all of those things. We have Pointless, we have Oversimplified. Oversimplified is to make, history easy, so easy for children, right? So it's a cartoon-like type of show that talks about history, World War, and all of those things, right? So we have The Chaser and the likes of them like that, right? So you want to make, screen time a learning time. It's not just something that children will just take in without even trying to, reproduce whatever it is that has been learned. So my 7-year-old knows, and it is something that is already a part of him. Once he's watching a screen, once he's watching a show, he has a pen and a paper. He will tell you he wants to write. He wants to write the words. He wants to write. He wants to write. That's what, making screen time a learning time for children is, right? What this does, apart from the fact that your children are learning, is that it fosters connection. And at the same time, they get to learn from it, right? So it fosters connection between yourself and your children, right? So you want to reflect on how you have showed up for your children too. This is something you want to do. You want to reflect on how you have showed up for your children as a parent. Have you been exhibiting discipline? Is this something you've been showing you yourself as a person? Like I say, the discipline is doing the things that you ought to do, even if you do not feel like doing it. Have you been doing that? Because before you can raise disciplined children, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give what you don't have. Not until when you have it. So you want to think about it. How have you been showing up for your children? Have you just been everywhere? Have you been yelling more than you should? Or have you just been yelling? Have you been emotionally present for your children? Being emotionally present is different from being physically present. For the fact that you're a stay-at-home mom does not necessarily mean that you are showing up for your children emotionally. Because if you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't even have anything that connects you and your children together, except that you cook, they eat, you bath for them and all of those things, there are no connection to, there are no time when you talk. When they're even talking to you, you're probably on your phone, and you're probably on your phone. You have a divided attention. You're not paying attention to your children. Right? So you want to ask yourself, have I been showing up for my children? If I have been showing up for my children, have I been showing up well enough for them? Have I been yelling too much? You want to, reflect on how your mornings have been. Has your mornings been chaotic for your children? Are you always in that space whereby you're looking for socks in the morning, you're looking for pants in the morning and all of those things? And you want to start being in that place whereby you position yourself to actually show up better than you've showed up as a parent. So that's why I said that it's an opportunity for you to grow and for your children to also grow while you're learning. Because as you're learning, you're implementing, there's definitely going to be transformation and you're all going to be growing as parents, right? So this is something you want to look into. Have you been able to manage your emotions? We're talking about raising all-round children. And the truth is, if we're not all-round, even our children will struggle. They will struggle so much. because we are their models. We are in the best place to actually influence the things that we want to see in them. But then I said that children do not, a mentor of mine says that children do not rebel against authority. They actually rebel against hypocrisy. So even if you're in that space whereby you're able to force your younger children to do certain things, to do this, to be disciplined, to do their homework, to do all of those things, to read a book and all of those things. By the time they grow and they see that all of those things that you're forcing me to do, you're not even doing it, you're not even becoming better, you're not growing, they do not see a reason why they should continue living that type of life. So they see it as hypocrisy. So they don't rebel against authority, they actually rebel against hypocrisy. So you want to also be at part, your child is growing, you're also growing with them. And that's why I said that you want to reflect on how you have showed up for your children. It is easy for you to do all of these things now because there's no morning rush of school. There's nothing like you want to quickly dress them up for school. You want to quickly cook for them. These are the things that you actually do together. And that's why there's more time for you to reflect, for you to put the right things in place, right? So that's another thing you want to look at. Have you been emotionally present, or you are only physically present as a parent, right? So you want to ask, when your children try to speak with you, have you actively listened, or you were carried away with other things that you were doing? Have you been able to listen actively? I tell people that when you come and complain that my child does not listen, my child does not listen, you need to ask yourself, do I listen as a parent? Right? Yes, thank you. Do I listen as a parent too? They rebel against hypocrisy, not authority. Right? Do I listen? You want to ask yourself, because if you don't listen to your children, they will probably not listen to you. And I find it very funny and very, strange when parents say, these children don't listen, because my own children listen. They listen. So this is something you want to look at. How have you showed up for your children? For your younger children, it's easy for you to say, they're young. But the truth is, as they grow, they understand that you're not even creating time for them, right? So you want to also ask yourself, how has my relationship with my preteen and my teenagers, how has it been? You want to sit down and think about it. How has this relationship, how has it been? Because it is a time for you to now reconnect. It is a time for you to now bond. Do they come to you to talk to you when they are going through stuff in their lives? Do you even understand what it means that they are going through stuff as a parent? Do you understand? Because if you don't understand, you can't even be in a place whereby you reset it. And if you outsource it to, you can't be in a place whereby you reset it. So you want to ask yourself these deep questions. It takes you reflection. So you want to think about it. Does this child talk to me? Because of course, if you have a preteen, if you have a teenager who is not talking to you about their crushes, who is not talking to you about certain things, changes in their body and all of those things, there's every possibility that that bond is not strong enough. That's why they are not bringing those conversations to you. It doesn't mean that they are not having it. They're having it with their friends. They're having it with those who listen. So this is the time for you to reflect and say, okay, yes, this is a perfect time. You want to go on a date. You want to take, such a child on a date. You want to engage them. You want to bring them close to you. You see this generalization of teenagers are this, teenagers are that. They don't listen. They don't, people come up with so many generalizations. Boys don't do chores. Boys are very stubborn and all of those things. They are parenting generalization that actually mars our parenting journey if we let them get to us. So it's a time for you to reflect and say, okay, yes, I want to intentionally build this relationship between myself and my child. And like you already know, those things that will not make you to build that relationship between yourself and your teenager. So you want to work towards. This is something that is very important, right? So now this is a time we're moving towards that time whereby you have to, put so many things down right now. So we're going to talk about the age appropriate ways to maximize the holiday for your children, right? The age appropriate ways to maximize the holiday for your children. So for your toddlers, that's children between the ages of 1 to 3 years, right? So you want to, I'm going to say a little bit of jargon here. We can go back and read up on it so that we understand how to put all of these things into perspective, but I'm going to simplify it for us, right? So you want to pay attention to schema, right? Schema is just, it's a build up of learning that, that people compartmentalize, right? In order to build on it. And it is toddlers' way of making sense of things, right? So schema is just their ability to actually, put some things into perspective and understand, many things. it's their way of understanding the world around them. Let me just put it like that. So toddlers have up to 7 schemas. We can go on to read about it so that we'll see more activities that we can involve our children in to actually build this their schema, right? And that's why I tell you that there is no skill that you cannot, there is no skill at all that you cannot teach a child, no matter how young. Problem solving is a skill that you can teach to your toddler, right? So this, the all of these schemas, they're just the transporting schema, moving things from one place to another, the transforming schema, the trajectory schema, connection schema, rotation schema, positioning schema, and the enclosing schema, right? So the all of these things, I'm going to say it again for those who are writing: the transporting schema, the transforming schema, the trajectory schema, connection schema, rotation schema, positioning schema, and the enclosing schema, right? So all of these things, like I said, is that ability for children to be able to, and that children between these ages, they will definitely be in that space whereby they carry out all of these things. And that's why it looked like they want to pour water from one jar to another. They want to pour food from one thing to another. They want to put sand into, bottle, into container. That's like a transporting schema. They want to pour some things from one place to another. So children will exhibit all of these things, and they are only able to exhibit it through play. Through play. So what am I saying in essence? You see, all of these things, all of the English that I have spoken about toddlers, it just involves that you leave them to play. Allow them to play, especially with water and sand. You see, the whole of those play that we engaged in while we were growing up, playing with sand, making a bar, making soup, making meat, making everything with sand and water. It really helped us. Let us not deny our children of it. That's the easiest way. I'm trying to teach us the easiest way to actually build up all of these things in our children. You can now go further to actually ask. We actually have, all other things that we can actually use to build all of these things. But that's like the easiest way for us to actually build, this schema in our children, right? So you want to be in that space where you allow them. When my children were very young, I will fetch a bucket of water and put it in a place whereby when they pour it there, they don't have a problem. And they'll play with it. They'll put their hand like this. They will do it. How children actually learn through all of these things. So please allow them. And if you look at it very well, you'll see that if you go to I was someone, when I started giving birth to children, I didn't buy toy for my children because I was asking myself, and that's why I know that, Allah gave me this thing to actually be able to understand it from onset. I was someone that I will ask you that if you ask me to buy a toy for a child, I'll ask you, what is that thing that child is going to learn from this toy? I remember that when my first son was still little, I think about 3 to 4 years, I bought a particular educational material for my son, and it's for problem solving. We all know this should be something that we can easily relate it. We have this particular this flat surface that has different shapes in it. Then children pick the shapes and try to fix it into the different shapes on the board. Yes, it's a particular board, right? And yeah, it's a Montessori material. I got it from a Montessori store online, right? So she tried to, I brought it home. Then, as usual, my husband was complaining, what exactly do you want this child to learn from this and all of that? I said it's a problem solving, particular game. And he was still, he was looking like, what exactly? This is just wood and all of those things. I just said, okay, yeah, stay and fix it. Try to fix it. And he was trying so hard. It took him time before he was able to fix it. And he was like, for real? Like, if it is taking me time to actually fix this thing, how more is it going to be for a child who is 3? Of course, the goal is not just for them to fix it. It's a problem solving, game that will actually help to, focus their attention. It will help them to focus their attention on it and try to solve that problem. You see, problem is something that as parents, we need to see it as something that we need to embrace. Because I was in a seminar some weeks back, and the person that was talking was actually taking us through how problem solving is a skill that we really need to intentionally teach to our children. It is not something we need to run away from. It's something that we really need to teach them, because there can't be, a life without problem. Yes, that's how I should put it. And it is someone it is someone that will either solve the problem or someone will build something to solve the problem. But if we don't expose our children to ability to solve problem, it's going to be a disadvantage for them because they're just in a world whereby they don't understand how to work with people and solve their problems. Right? So it's something that we intentionally need to teach to our children. We have different games like that. Instead of just, we're fond of wanting to buy tabs for our children. Tab, 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 tab. Yeah, this tab, this person has tab, this child has tab. But the question is, what exactly is that child learning from that tab? Right? So let me not waste too much time. So all of these things is actually what, like I already said, the simple way that we can actually teach this to our children, that they can actually learn it, not us necessarily teaching it to them, but the way they can actually learn it, right? So we want to, expose them to this. Another thing is that we want to try to be in that space whereby we develop their phonological and phonemic awareness. And this is going to be done through them reading. You see the whole of these schemas, we can go online to check, activities that we can actually engage our children in to actually build these schemas in them. It's going to help us a lot so that we can run, right? So so I was saying that we need to develop their phonological and phonemic awareness by reading to them. When I started, I said that it's not just about textbooks and worksheets. And I also said that reading cannot be totally eliminated because that's how to actually become a lifelong learner. So we want to expose our children to reading by first of all reading to them. You see, our lab should be that place whereby they sit down first of all before any other place. So we want to put them in that place. We want to read to them. When we say that phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, it does not necessarily mean that children understand A to Z before they can actually know phonemic awareness. It's just, a way that all that you want to let them know is that it sounds that sound the same way. The sound that I was teaching my 3-year-old is actually M because of my name and his brother's name. So I was saying Marufa, Mommy, Mahmoud, Mohsin, and I was telling her to give me more words that has M in it. And she was trying her best. She was, it's not as if they will get it once, but they are actually picking, they are learning. So this is going to make it a lot easy for them when they start see. They don't necessarily have to see that, okay, yes, to recognize that, yes, this is M. But once they have that phonemic awareness of, okay, yes, this is how this letter sounds. When they get to that stage whereby they want to start reading, it's easier for them to read. So apart from the fact that you're exposing them to play for toddlers, like I have said, you want to be in that space whereby you read to them. Please read to them. This is something that is going to help them a lot. So you want to read to them. You want to you want to help them to recognize the sound in words, not necessarily with books. You can just be doing, it's something you can just be doing while you're cooking or while you're doing every other thing, right? So this is something you want to do for toddlers. This is what you want to expose them to, right? Don't be in that space whereby you're forcing your children to write. For my littlest baby, who is 3 years, my goal for this month of August, and this is 1st of August, is for her to be able to write A to E. That's all. And when I have not even started with her. I have not started. And the elder brother was trying to take her through it. And the elder brother just wrote A. And immediately he just took the pencil out. You would think she has been writing this thing for a very long time. But no, she hasn't been writing it. She hasn't been writing. I think that was just her first attempt, and she was able to do it perfectly. So please, no rush. Don't be in that space whereby you are inconveniencing your toddlers, children between 1 to 3 years, to write 1 to 5, to write 1 to 100, to write 1 to 200. For what advantage is it going to be for them? You see, lessons that cannot be practicalized is not a lesson that you should teach your children. I'll say that again and I'll explain. Lesson that cannot be practicalized should not be lesson that you teach your children. Example, you're teaching your 3-year-old 1 to 100. Tell me, how can that child apply that lesson in real life situation? Is it that you want to give that child 100 naira to go and buy something and collect change? Is it that you want to give them 100? How can they practicalize? How can they bring it into real world? Can it make any sense to them? No, it can't. And that's what I mean when I said that. Any lesson that they cannot, learn from, that cannot be a part of them, that cannot solve a problem in their lives, please don't expose them to it. It's actually draining. You see the ways and manners we see children being abused because of all of these things. It's so, it's something that is so sad. So you don't want to be in that space whereby you're forcing your children to do all of those things because they do not need them. Right. So that's about that for toddlers. We're going to run because our time is fast spent. Right. Now for preschoolers, children between the ages of 3 to 6 years, right? What do you want to do? Like we said, make it fun for them. You see this, don't forget that we already said it, that you should have a structure in place. And having a structure in place, it will definitely come with a routine, a morning routine. There's no more rushing to meet school bus or any other thing this time, right? So you want to take your time. You can decide that, okay, yes, when you wake up in the morning, you clean yourself, you brush your teeth, you take your bath, you take breakfast. We're just going to go on a walk. Going on a nature walk, you could show them so many things. This is mango tree, this is banana tree, this is that, this is a wedu tree, this is okra. They learn from it. And that's why I said from the beginning of this session that learning doesn't have to be within the four walls of the classroom. This is something that we need to know. This is something that we need to put into perspective. It does not have to be within the four walls of the classroom. So we want to be in that space whereby we engage them. Right. So if you have your routine, okay, what we're doing now is that we'll just take a walk, maybe 1 hour walk, then we'll come back home or something like that. Yes, we might be thinking that, okay, yes, what about when we have to go to school or something? All that we're saying is make sure that wherever it is that you're putting your children is not something that is rigorous for them. And I tell people, maybe this is why I chose this profession. If you're working in any other place, this time that your children are going to be at home is a beautiful time for you to take a leave. You see that money that they will not give you, it's okay. It's okay. If you can take a leave just for your children, for you to be around them, for you to imbibe the skills that you want to teach, for you to teach it to them, for them to learn. If it is possible, please take it because it is important. This is a time that children can be molested, by even relatives. Yes, this is something that is possible. So this is just the plain truth. It might be bitter. We might be in a place whereby we're thinking it, we're arguing, won't we go to work because of this? But that's just the truth. And that's why we need to understand our seasons of life. Let me keep that for inner circle parents that are going to be in class. There's so much to unleash for them, right? So another thing, you want to expose them to art and crafts. Let them be, you see, life is so easy now. Go to ChatGPT, go to Google, go to YouTube. What is the art and craft that I can engage my so years old? It will bring you so many things. You can use the resources at home, bottles, papers, scissors, the things that you already have at home. You want to expose them to art and craft. This is something that they will love to do. This is something that helps them with focus, that helps them with concentration. They are able to concentrate because they love doing it, because they are so much into it, right? So expose them to art and craft. Read beneficial books with them and to them. You see the word? You're reading it with them and you're reading it to them, right? Because between the ages of 3 to 6, my first son started reading at age 4. Yes, it was so fast. I think I have a video evidence of that on my old Instagram account. He started reading at age 4. It's not all children that are going to also be the same, right? But then you want to read with them, you want to read to them. You want to do it in a way that it is engaging, right? So read beneficial books with them and read to them. Teach them skills. This is an opportunity for you to teach them skills. We spoke about social skills, social intelligence from the beginning. This is a time for you to teach it to them. You want to teach them how to show empathy, understanding other people, putting other people into their shoes. This is the best time for you to teach them, right? Showing empathy, being kind to people, negotiation skills, right? Yes, you can teach it from now. You can just, like I said, make it fun. You can just make one of them, someone who is going to own a store, give them, petty money, 100 naira, 50 naira. Yes, you'll be in the store today, you attend to customer, you negotiate, how much is this? 50 naira. Sell it for me for 45. I can't sell it for 45. In fact, I bought it for 46 naira. Role play, paint scenarios for them, right? It's an opportunity for you to teach them these skills. You see, these skills is something that is very important. It is not going anywhere. No matter what you become, no matter the profession that your child gets themselves into, they're engineer, doctor, and all of those things, they have to, apart from the fact that they are learning that skill, they have to also learn the skill of monetizing it in this time and age. They have to learn the skill of monetizing it. For example, yes, you as a person, or let's say, okay, let's even give an example of a fashion designer. A fashion designer has learned that skill of sewing clothes. She also needs to learn that skill of actually marketing, negotiating, convincing people to sew with her. And that's why negotiation skill is something that is important, and we can start to teach it as early as possible, right? I'm so glad that this Friday Live is happening today, 1st of August. After this session, go back to the drawing board, pick a book, make a plan, make a structure. For me, it is something that I said, I just showed you. And we're just going to write everything that we're going to be doing. I have a bucket list. These are the things that we're going to be doing, in this month, right? On this day, these are the things that we're going to be doing. Right, start putting it down. We're going to teach this skill. This is how we want to teach it. If you don't have an idea of how to put it into place, go and search. You will definitely get, you get results. Right, conflict resolution skills, right? Compromise, how you can actually, resolve conflict between siblings and all of those things. As little as my children, this is something that I tell them. When somebody does something to you, instead of you to just, block the person off or fight the person, tell the person. And you hear my 3-year-old say, me like in Kotoshe for me, I don't like what she's so outspoken, and she'll tell you she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it, right? Then conversation can now come up. Okay, yes, what exactly did I do? What did I, conflict resolution, compromise, right? This is a time for us to teach them responsibility, travel skills. You see, children learn a whole lot from certain things that we do not know how much they learn, especially cooking, traveling. Even it does not necessarily mean that you are going to a far place. You can just go to places that are nearby, whereby your children are able to know. You are able to teach them landmarks. You are able to teach them, okay, yes, this is where we have gotten to. This is how we do it. This is the map. When you are traveling with your children, don't give them iPad for them to just be there. Let them be able to follow you through. Okay, yes, this is where we are now. Before we get to so place, we'll get to so place. Before we get there, this is how we got there. This is where we had our stopover. Children are learning about cities. They are learning about landmarks. They are learning about maps, geography, as little as they are. So you want to expose them to all of those things, right? So take them to fun places, right? Even if you don't know, if you've not done it before, just take your phone, Google it. The museums around here, zoos around here, around this area. Take them there. Let them have fun. Let them learn through fun. This is something that makes learning something that is enjoyable to them. This is something that makes learning something that is eventually going to be something that is lifelong for them, something that is going to be continuous, right? Reading too. I think I've spoken about reading, right? Public speaking. This is the time for you to, to engage them in public speaking. I'll share a very interesting story of my daughter. I think day before yesterday, we were doing a debate, and we're just randomly talking because they're still very young. We're talking about, a doctor is better than a farmer. And everyone spoke, and it was the turn of my daughter, and she was saying something like, doctor is the same person as a farmer. I said, oh shit, thank you. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about building those skills early on. It's about building those skills early on. So you want to also try it. It's going to be fun. I tell people that don't be in a space whereby you are depressed or you're not catching fun with your children, because if you engage them, you will laugh, you roll on the floor. So please engage them with all of these things this holiday. Public speaking skills, start as early as possible. I tell you, it is something that is doable. As a matter of fact, you just see that they say something and you'll be like, oh my god, how? Today, usually when my children, when they are dressing up or when they are taking their bath, everyone finishes before they all go and eat. So fortunately today, my daughter finished first, and she was saying that she wanted to eat, and she was saying, I'm ready to eat, I want to eat. And we're like, won't you wait for your brothers? And the next thing she said is, for those who don't understand my language, she just said that it's not by force, it's not a must I wait for them. And she was just telling us no. And that's what who I am raising. I'm raising children that will be able to tell me no or yes. It's not a must they always obey, like I would say. We're not going there today. But let's quickly run. School age. Children between the ages of 6 to 10 years. Let them play and have fun. Let them play. Play as much as they can. Let them play. There's nothing like rough play. There's nothing like, oh, this child is playing too much. However, we need to always remind them that their safety matters, right? But please let them play, right? Puzzles and Legos. Puzzles and Legos. You see, we have so many stores online that we can easily get these things. So it's nothing of we don't know where it is sold. If you buy puzzles for your children, you will see them. Even if you have something to do and you just give it to them and you're not engaging with them, you see how much they're able to sit down with it. It can be frustrating at first, but they will arrange it. My 7-year-old is a guru at solving puzzles. Papa, he has finished map of Nigeria, map of Africa, and all of those things. Something that it will take me time. Quickly, he has finished it. It's a problem-solving game. That's what puzzle is. And that's what helps children in mathematics, not any other thing. Once they're able to solve problem, it's easy for them. It's easier for them. Mathematics becomes something that is easy for them because it's all about problem solving. Legos. Expose children to Legos. Puzzles, Legos. Another thing you want to teach your children is safety skills. We had this, I think, last weekend. If you missed it, you can go back to the session to actually learn the safety skills that you can teach your children, irrespective of their ages, right? Another thing you want to start teaching to your children is that you see all of those Quran memorization that they have done. They have memorized the short surahs. You want to explain to them. You want to go through the meaning together. Reflect. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was saying that during this time, we'll have people who act more on what they have learned from the Quran, what they have memorized from the Quran, than later. People are now going to memorize it without even acting. And that's exactly what is happening these days. Horrible things that we've heard, that we've seen. So you want to take your children. It is a time for them to reflect on, okay, I've learned clouds rubbing us. What does it mean? Let us reflect on this together. Let us talk about it. Let us have conversations around this together, right? Engage them with this holiday. It is a perfect time for you to actually have all of these things. If it means that, okay, yes, they are not going to school, they are not going to madrasa this time, whatever it is that they have memorized, we want to actually go through it together and learn from it together. Safety skills, I already spoke about that. Involve them in your business if you run any. We're talking about school-age children between the ages of 6 to 10 years, right? My 7-year-old has been trying as much as possible to edit my videos for me. The only reason why I don't give him is because I don't have an assistant and I have to get things done immediately. I have to get things done quickly. But then he will ask me, Mommy, what do you want me to do? Involve them in your businesses. You see, when you involve them, I spoke about entrepreneurial skills the other time, that whatever it is that you do, you need to be in that place where you have those skills to convince people, to market to people, to negotiate with them and all of that. If you don't have it, there's a limit to where you can get to. This is something that I learned as an adult. You can teach it to your children as they grow, right? Entrepreneurial skills. If you have anything at all, a mentor of mine was a coach was actually sharing with us how she was actually a business coach. She was actually sharing with us how you can outsource things for even your younger children. I usually share something when my daughter was still trying to peel eggs. She would do it so perfectly because she would take her time to do it. She does it perfectly than me sometimes, right? So she was just giving examples of if you sell egg roll, for example, give your 3-year-old to peel the egg. Apart from the fact that they are learning to peel the egg, they are making strong. They are pinker. They are pink. Is it pinker or pincer? I don't know if you know. Please correct me. Pincer grip. They are trying to do it. They are learning patience. They are learning attention, concentration, right? They are learning it from all of these things. So no matter what you do, there can be something, even if it is very little, that you can give to your child to do for you. And you definitely get the result. The coach was even saying that even if the child did not peel the egg very well, it will be inside egg roll. Customers cannot know, things like that. And that's the truth. They will do it for you. Involve them in your businesses. Sit down and think, okay, what exactly can I involve this child in? And I'm going to get results from it. Right? Yes, your 7-year-old, your 8-year-old, your 9-year-old can actually do some things for you. Even if it means, okay, writing some things out. Okay, yes, these are the names of the customers I want to write out. Help me to write it out. They will do it. Involve them in your businesses. It's actually developing the entrepreneurial skills in them, right? Another thing, let them explore cooking skills with you. This is something that is very important. This is something that is very, very important. I think I shared on my WhatsApp status how, the first pancake that my 7-year-old did. If you see how that pancake was looking, oh my God. But if you see the ones that he's doing, recently, that he has been doing recently, oh my God, so beautiful, so demure. Oh my God. That's exactly how it is. When they practice, they get to, become better at it. I know a lot of time we want to be in that space whereby we see things like, it will not be fast, it will be messy, it will be this. Parenting is done in mess. Parenting is done in mess. So it's something that we want to actually involve them. We want to engage them in, right? So I spoke about cooking skills. Play strategic games together for your 6 to 10 years. Play strategic games with them, right? You want to play Scrabble with them. You want to play chess with them. You want to play Monopoly with them. Anything that helps them to think, any strategic game is something that is going to help them a lot, right? Shopping skills, right? You have your 6-year-old, your 7-year-old, tell them to make a list. Okay, this is something I do every time. Before we go shopping, I'll tell them, go into the kitchen and look at the things that we do not have at home, the things that we have exhausted. Write them out. Those are the things that we're going to be buying. And when we get to the mall where we are going to buy something, they will actually go to that space whereby they sorry about that. They will actually be in that space whereby they pick the things, because of course they made the list, they know what we need. They will pick everything and they'll put it in the cart, right? Involve them in all of these things, right? Vocational skills, I spoke about it before. Reading and presentation skill. This is something that is very, very, very important. Let them be able to present, right? I started something with my child. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue. But whenever it is that he finished reading a story, I'll tell him to prepare a Canva presentation on it. We've not been able to follow through because of the devices that I have. We don't have so many, and I always want to use my device, right? Presentation skill. Let them start right from now. Simple budgeting skill, right? It could be under shopping skills too, right? Simple budgeting skills, different life skills, right? You want to teach it to them. And lastly, to preteens and teenagers. Preteens and teenagers, involve them in full-time entrepreneurial skills, entrepreneurial activities, right? If you have a friend who does something, who has a company, who has a business that is thriving so well, you can decide to send them there for internship. Send them there to go and learn something, right? So you want to actually, send them into all of those things so that they can actually learn entrepreneurial skills, right? Another thing you want to do is that you want to teach, you want to have a vision board for them together, right? Let them do vision board. If you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube, right? For older children like that, let them write a vision board. What exactly do you want to achieve? Let them have a vision board, right? You make it together with them. It's going to be fun. You get to converse doing it, and you also learn how to do it as a mother, right? Have book reviews. Now, book reviews, proper book reviews, whereby they read a particular book, they make a presentation on it. Yes, they should be able to do it. They won't do it perfectly. The goal is not for them to be perfect, but for them to learn how to do it, right? So let them stay in front of you, review the book together. Yes, this is what I learned, this is what I learned, this is what I learned. There is nothing like, raising children that are smart than all of these things. When you expose it to them early, it becomes easier for them, right? Internship, I already spoke about that. Holiday jobs, right? Let them go and take up holiday jobs, right? Driving skills. This is the time that you should start teaching them, because driving comes with a lot of calculation. It comes with a lot of calculation that actually helps your child's brain to develop. This is something that I learned recently, and I said, okay, yes, that's actually true. By the time your child is turning 18, 19, your child is already an adult, and he or she can drive. It's a relief for you also, right? Advanced budgeting skills, like I spoke about, right? Quran reflection sessions too, for them. They will now be the one to take in charge. You can tell them, create just, something about honesty, about integrity, about this, and, present it to us as a family. And everyone is going to do this. This is something that is going to be fun, right? You want to ask them, okay, if we're going to be traveling to a particular place, where is it that you would love to travel to? If we'll be traveling there, how much do you think it's going to cost us? How can we prepare to actually be in this space? They will go around, do the budget. Okay, yes, for 5 people, for 2 people, or for 6 people, depending on the number of people in the family. You want to say, okay, these are the things that we'll actually do. This is the amount of money. We'll book hotel, we'll do this, we'll do that. Involve them in all of these things, right? And finally, you need to actually be in the, okay, I already spoke about it, about advanced budgeting skills, right? This is something that is very, very important. And in conclusion, you need to know that a purposeful and productive holiday is not about perfection. It's about the willingness to stay committed, to stay connected, and intentionally, be around your children, to bond, to learn, and to grow, right? So, and that's the end of our session for today. We took extra 16 minutes, but I guess it's okay. It's worth it, right? Let me see your comment in the comment section if your stay here actually worth the time, right? So this is an opportunity for me to also share our upcoming course, Understanding Your Child's Learning Style course. It's I was trying to put together the curriculum, and I was comparing it to last year curriculum, and I know that it's nothing close to last year curriculum. Yes, if you want to take advantage of this, it is 10,500 naira. But if you pay between now and the 10th of August, you are going to be paying only 7,500 naira for this. Yes, it's 10,500. But if you pay within this time, I'll be able to know, okay, yes, these are the things that we need to put in place. You only have to pay only 7,500 for it, understanding your child's unique learning style course, right? This is something that is suitable for parents, for teachers also. This is something that is suitable for them. You get to understand your learners more, right? After 15th of August, the price reverts to 10,500 naira. So if you want to take advantage now, just go on to pay 7,500 naira, even if it means for you to book a spot. That, okay, yes, I'm booking a spot with 3,000 naira and I'm going to, balance. So please go on with that. I'm going to allow that because I know that there are people who want to benefit from this, right? So this course is definitely going to come on by September. Yes, it's going to be by September. And we're doing this because we do not want to disrupt the holiday with parents. We want you to have that time with your children, right? So it's 10,500 naira. Like I said, it's going to be a whole lot. And parents who register for this will definitely get so many guides, including, the things that you need to look out for before choosing a school for your child, right? You're always going to be having a masterclass on, resumption and all of those things. It's going to be a lot, right? So please don't lose this opportunity. Book your spot today, right? Don't forget about it. By 15th of the month, the price is going to revert to 10,500 naira. And that's all that we have for you from our end at LLP for the month of, August / September, right? So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate. Thank you for everyone who shared this with every other person, every other parent to come and join. This is well appreciated. I really appreciate it. I pray that it benefits you and it benefits your adorable. I'm so grateful. Like I always say, don't just leave this class without it transforming you. Go now, take your book, put those structures in place, and start implementing so that you can get transformed. Right? Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. See you again next week, Friday, inshallah. Make sure that where you're coming, you don't come alone, you come with other parents and let them also come and benefit from this. Remember that the theme for the month is raising lifelong learners. So we're going to be talking so much about learning and about making learning fun for your children. Thank you once again for joining me. See you again next Friday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.